Hello, welcome to my pen diary. My name is Carly, I'm a writer, and I'm slowly getting started with fountain pens, fountain pen inks, and everything that is in that area. And I've just received Herbin's Lidité, which I saw everywhere sort of touted as the ultimate brown ink. So I wanted to swatch this one out and then compare it with the other 5 brown inks that I have. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Okay. To swatch, I will be using a glass pen. I've been trying to get used to writing with a glass pen. I think what I did wrong was that I've basically loaded up the ink way too much, and that was fine for the Herbin inks. They tend to be a bit drier, but for lots of the other inks it was just a disaster. So, and I will be using the end of the glass pen as well. So now let's get started with Lidité. Oh, it's definitely more watery than I expected. But it's still, I mean, it's a lovely color. Just, how does the accent go? Okay. And I have a very specific reason for getting this as well, which I'm going to get into at the end. So, okay, let me going to move things around. I think the next one needs to be Lamy Topaz, which is almost the first brown ink that I picked up. You can sort of see here the color it's supposed to be. Of course. Would not be an ink video without an accident, but that's fine. I'd go with it. I think it's probably a bit redder. Yes, so this is sort of how I remember it. A tiny bit redder than Lidité. I've been using this a lot for drawing, actually. It's not quite sepia, or sepia. But I still really like the experience of drawing with this. So that's topaz. It looks like tapas, which might, yeah, I'm a bit hungry. That may be why. Okay, just get you far away. Then I'm going to go over to Diamine's Ancient Copper, another favorite ink of many people and definitely of me, as well as definitely one of mine. I really just love this one. There, so we're slowly getting redder. And I don't know what it is about brown ink that I find fascinating. Maybe because it sort of looks a bit like, you know, when you find a really old letter and everything's faded, everything looks really interesting. Maybe that's why. Just get a tiny bit more. Yeah, as I said, I'm slowly getting used to the glass pen. In the beginning, everything was just a puddle because I widely overestimated how much ink I would need. That's some ink stuck in the grooves. Probably a bit of dried ink. Just rinse that off again. Yeah, that seems to have made it come off. Okay. So the next one is another diamond ink, and that's from the Shimmertastic series, and it's Caramel Sparkle. You can see all the lovely shimmer in there. You can also see the light in there. Yeah, I've been starting, so the room where my office is basically my bedroom, and the window is to the right of me, which is not ideal, especially as one of the things that I really enjoy when I'm watching ink videos is seeing people write. And yeah, I mean, there's still shadows, it's still not ideal, but it's definitely better than before. So we'll tinker with it, and at some point I'm sure we'll get somewhere. Okay, this one has, as I showed you, just a gorgeous shimmer. I was a bit hesitant with shimmer inks because I'm using the inks primarily for writing my novels, and I was a bit worried that the shimmer would interfere with the readability. Now I think it actually makes some inks more readable, weirdly. So I've sort of gone back into embracing the shimmer. Caramel Sparkle, and I just love this one. I think this is a good example actually for shimmer almost making an ink more readable. I've written a few pages with this, and especially in sort of a soft, fine to medium nib, I thought that worked brilliantly. So now we get into a bit of a gear change. It's another Herbin ink, which is Rouille d'encre, basically Rusty Anchor. And this one, I really like the color, but unfortunately, if I'm going for legibility, it's just a tiny bit too light. And what I mentioned before about getting l'idée, my plan is to add a tiny bit of l'idée to Rouille d'encre and see if that makes it more readable. You see, even with the glass pen where I actually pick up quite a bit of ink, it's still quite light. So yeah, I'm going to experiment. I'm doing a lot of fiber art where I'm mixing colors to dye my own yarn. So I'm determined to make this ink work for me. The last brown that I have is Diamine Nutmeg from the 2024 Inkvent calendar. Again, it has a lovely shimmer. I always find that with these little noopsies, with little indentations, it's really hard to get the shimmer out. One of the reasons why I want to test the browns is that for February, I'm thinking about doing like a battle of the browns in my currently inked. And so it would just be nice to have them all like on one sheet, sort of all their properties. I think the nutmeg is a bit of an outlier because it's more sort of gray, maybe almost like a greenish tint to it. I think there's more room for browns in my collection. And obviously I know that one of the non-plus ultra browns, Pilot, the Inaho ink, is no longer available, so I'm just too late. But I still really like that sort of brown, so I might just try and get something very close to it. That's Ink Vent 24, and that's Nutmeg. Okay, I'll let these dry and then bring them in a bit. This took a really long time to dry. I think there's still, on the nutmeg, there's still something that's not quite dry, and the big splotch isn't. But apart from that, it seems to be really... I think the Herbin Lidité has more in common with the nutmeg. So if I ever swatch all these again, I think I will put Lidité at the bottom to have like a nice little rainbow going into red, into pink, and then back again. But so far, I'm actually really pleased with the browns that I have. I think I'm still missing like an even deeper chocolate brown, and as I said, something in sort of more the greeny, yellowy direction. So that's some inks. If you have suggestions for these types of inks, please let me know. I'll be thrilled to check them out. And yeah, so that's definitely, you can see, I don't know if the camera picks it up, the shimmer in the caramel sparkle and the nutmeg. I'd say the nutmeg is a bit more subdued, but it's really lovely. I actually had the nutmeg in a Jinhao 10 recently, and I think the shimmer clogged the pen because it started to get, like the ink started to get really light. This is Leuchtturm paper because that's the paper I write my novels on. So I wanted to swatch on a paper that I'm actually using to write, so I can see, like, because of the legibility thing. But yeah, let me know what you think. I know it's definitely not as much as other people have, but I need to keep my collection quite contained. So I think for now, I'm quite happy sort of knowing what I can like look for in future inks. But so far, I think I'm good on the browns. Thank you so much, and see you soon.